Hello everybody, and thank you for stopping by to watch my video. So today is the next process of setting up the shrimp farm, and we're gonna be doing airlines and water lines. And you might be thinking, well, I ain't setting up no shrimp farm. Well, if you start getting obsessed with shrimp tanks, now I've never done a proper air loop before, so you're gonna be, if you don't know what this, then you're gonna be learning with me. And if you already know what you're doing, you're just going to shake your hands like, oh my God. But, so all these tanks I've got, I've never done a proper air system because in my house I prefer to use water pumps. But it is a lot easier to do central air. And I do have a central air, but I just have airlines strung everywhere. So this is the proper way to do it. I really need to do this inside. But I want to learn on my outside shrimp farm. And we're going to do the exact same thing for air lines and water lines. But the process is the same. One's just going to be full of air. One's just going to be full of water. So let's come learn with me or laugh at me. Let's get going. So there's been lots of people. It's just common knowledge if you've been in the hobby or you're pretty hardcore into it, that Jimco has all your air needs. And so I needed some guidance on how to do this. And so they give exact detailed instructions. Everything right there looks... I actually did a test hole, so this is not my first hole ever. This is my second hole ever on a scrap piece. So I got these valves threaded on this end, barbed on this end. So what we're going to be doing is drilling a hole, and I said, go ahead and send me the proper drill bit. We're going to drill that hole, and then you can see I already did a test run. This is a tap, and this will thread that hole. So then we can screw this on. I said, this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I want. I want this many, and they sent it to me. They're awesome. So you need stuff like this. I highly recommend Jimco. So let's get started on our test hole. I just got back from the store today of buying 100 feet of PVC pipe. So the first thing we got to do is drill a hole. I'm real familiar with drilling holes in the PVC pipe. We want it straight up and down. Easy peasy. Change out the drilling bit for the tap bit. And this, now you've got to make sure your drill's in forward and it is perpendicular to the pipe. And then slowly turn it. And you're tapping out the hole. I'm sure we're all the way through. Reverse out. Nice and slow. And let's see if we did it right. It should screw in like so. And you don't want to over tighten it, but you want to keep going until you're snug. And there we go, snug. Now we just got to do it a whole bunch of times outside. And now that we got the hard part figured out, I'm tapping the holes. This is where the shrimp farm is going to be, outside the whole edge of my yard. From one side to the other, this is where all this is going to be set up at. So right here, I'm just putting all the pipes in with the couplers. Just, they're not glued or anything. And putting them all in, making sure we got enough pipe to cover the whole space. Now I'm going through with my tape measure and marking a dot to put a valve every 3 foot or so, roughly every 3 foot. I'm making the marks now. First thing I did was take my drill bit and drill a hole in all the spots I marked. And then I got my tap, and one by one I tapped each hole and screwed in a valve. It's actually pretty easy. It went a lot smoother than I thought and a lot quicker than I thought. It was actually really easy. So if you're thinking about trying to do an air loop or something like that, don't sweat it. This part of it had me stressed out since I'd never done it. It's easy. So nothing's glued yet or anything, but we are now doing a leak test. None of the valve parts leaked. Everything seemed to be going good. I went through and tested them all one by one. So hopefully that's all good. And then all the way down here at the end, this valve is our pressure control valve. So we close it to make more pressure and release it to make the pressure lower. And we'll have to fine tune that when we have all the tubs up and running. See just how much air pressure we need to put into the pump, into the system to make it all work. Alright, so here we are into the next day. The first thing I did off camera was glue the air. And so what I'm doing now is I'm putting in the water lines and gluing them as I go. I have more confidence now. I was afraid to glue anything before I tested out the valves on the air side, but now I feel pretty good. So I just went ahead and glued everything, and it made it a lot easier when you glue the pipes first and then do the... So now I got a whole bunch of zip ties, and I am securing the pipes to the top of the fence. Kind of staggered my valve placements so that the air and water wasn't right on top of each other. You can see almost done all that far in, getting everything secured, then come back here and do the finishing zip ties up here, and then go through and cut all the excess zip ties. Still zip tying this. I wanted to get this all lined up pretty good. Now I'm going through and drilling all the holes for the water valves. Now I'm coming through and tapping them and putting the valves in. I can't believe how easy this was. This was always kind of intimidating because I hadn't done it before. And like I said before, if you're concerned about doing this, this is super easy. Just talk to the people at Gemco. They'll send you everything you need. And there's detailed instructions on how to do it. Super, super easy. I highly, highly recommend doing this if you have a lot of tanks and air power. This is the quick connect that I'll just drag the hose over to, connect it in, turn the hose on, and each tub will be drilled with an overflow. So that'll be easy. You can see how I staggered the valves. The water line is a 3/4 inch PVC line, and the air line is a 1/2 inch. And they're sitting on top of each other on the top board of the fence for support. Turned out pretty good. I am happy with it for sure. I'd love to do a test to show you guys a water test, but my hose is a frozen ice snake. There you have it. air and water lines installed, ready for the tubs. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.